All right, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of Stacking the Deck. I'm joined
Back
here
in
with
the
Ethan
deck.
Effins,
Yo, yo, yo.
our host, and we've got Jay Logan Dick, Joshua
Hello?
Dick.
Hey, yeah, that's me. That's
Most of you guys
hello.
know him as Logan. So
Low gang.
What
Logan, yeah.
up?
And
Meow, meow, meow,
then
meow.
Damian Hardy here.
Hey guys.
Dr. Hardy, as some folks have referred to him as. And I'm going to let you guys go ahead and introduce yourself. So, Damian, why don't you start us off?
Cool. Yeah, my name is Damian Hardy. Like Ed said, I come from a Pokemon background. Played as a kid. Dabbled in like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh. Just growing up, kind of teen through college era. And then once I graduated, I got a job at Argent Saga TCG as a junior, research and development. That was a lot of fun. I was kind of thrown into the fire there right away. Did a lot of their judge program and organized play and testing stuff. And then later on went and did design with set 3 and 4. And then after Argent Saga, I moved on to MetaZoo and did Nightfall through UFO.
Whoop, whoop.
Sick, sick,
And what do
sick.
you do now?
And now I run a game store in Kelowna, Illinois, back in my hometown. We do a lot of Pokemon, Magic, Lorcana, Star Wars. So we do most of the classics. The only ones that we don't do are like Yu-Gi-Oh and One Piece, and it's only because we haven't grown the community just yet. We're new, opened in November, and then I also work with Logan on Stabcraft Games, which is a new game company, game design company. So I'm sure he'll talk about it.
Sick.
Yeah. No Yu-Gi-Oh players, no One Piece players, no Smellies allowed. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Not yet, not yet. It's not on him. I love
Not
Yu-Gi-Oh.
yet.
One Piece, cool
Hey.
game. Did a good job.
Leave the Smellies alone. They need love. All right, Logan, start us off. Tell us about
Whoop,
yourself.
whoop. All right, so I am Joshua Logan Dick. You guys may know me as J Logan Dick in the Discord. So I dabbled in TCGs as a kid, right? Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, and then around the COVID era, there was a resurgence for me in TCGs, and so I started looking around or whatever, and I discovered this wonderful brand that we all know called MetaZoo, right? Yep,
Yeah.
I came on there.
Hey, I heard that one. I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I think so. I think you guys were involved. I think, right? You guys were there.
Mm-hmm.
When is war coming out?
I seen it.
I see it.
Soon, TM. But came on there pretty early after the Kickstarter era, in between before first edition had released, and so I got into there, got into the game and all that, and then got on with the Nightfall testing team. Got into the research and development department. You guys knew me as the vice director of research and development towards the end there. That kind of closed up. That chapter closed. We saw how it closed. Whatever your feelings may be, I have fond memories personally. But then now, like Damien kind of said, I'm on to working with Stabcraft Games. That is what we're doing now, which is kind of a game design company that comes in and offers a professional level of kind of testing for you. And by professional, I mean just more honed in and tightened on just kind of the methods. Repetition is very key for it. Making sure that your testers are understanding each time that they go into a program how to do it, how to function with it, how to get you the data that you need, and all that other stuff. So we also offer a little bit of production help whenever you guys need it or whatever, who to contact, networking, everything like that. So that's what we're onto at this point in our lives.
Sick,
That's
sick.
awesome.
Right.
So a little bit of consulting, it sounds like too. You guys,
Yeah.
I think between the both of you, I mean, when I first found out about Stabcraft, I was like, oh, this is a perfect combination.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. That means
Yeah,
a lot.
well, so like so many people, and I guess a lot of the through line so far in our interviews is that there's been like a connection with MetaZoo and this, that, and the other. And again, no matter how you feel about how things went down, hopefully the positive aspect of this is like there's been a lot of learning experiences coming out of MetaZoo. And one thing that
Absolutely.
I think is cool about at least Stabcrab is, a lot of folks wanted to make their own TCG, and that's really cool too. But I think the way y'all are handling it is particularly unique. So, like, what drove you guys to land on sort of Stabcrab, or at least approach this sort of, I don't want to say problem, but like the solution that you're providing your clients?
So I'm not 100% on how Damien feels about this portion. I'll let him speak on why he was driven to help build this or whatnot. My initial concept for this one came from having too many ideas for a card game, right? And whenever you're, I don't know about other people. Other people may have a more confidence level in their designs and stuff like that. But for me, I was concerned on it pivoting on the idea of one card game. And so I wanted to help multiple card games kind of, and in the creation in the process of the creation of their card games, help hone my skill and everything like that, while also working on my games in the background. So it allows me to help the community, help build it up, help build the indie TCG scene, because there's a lot of people that are coming out that need just some help and guidance to get to their best potential that they have with their game, in my opinion. So it's just nice to watch people grow and prosper with their game. So that was the main driver. What about you, Damio?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me now? I'm on my
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
For me, I think it was the same kind of thing with Logan. It's just like there's so many out there that, and also we knew what we were good at, and that was building and testing. I think Logan and I would both agree that we're not super great at social media or marketing, or we have a lot to learn in those areas, right?
Yes.
So we knew what we were good at. We knew where our skills and passions were driven from. And I think eventually, instead of being like MetaZoo and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, we wanted to be more like Bandai and Wizards of the Coast and Konami, you know, where you can house multiple different games and features.
Okay, that's super cool.
Expansive networking kind of thing.
Yep.
What I guess, since you are working with a lot of different clients and they might be on different areas of their journey in terms of creating their TCG or the IP that they're creating, what has been the like common theme or common mistake or common issue, or maybe something that they just are overlooking that you all see on a day-to-day basis?
It's a good question. I think it's the amount of time that really goes into all the little details.
Yes. Yep. Because a lot of people, they'll have the idea of, I'll do this or I'll do that. And on paper, it is really easy, right? On paper. But then whenever you go to implement it, it takes days on days on days of implementation and documentation and just securing, NDAs, or securing people to come test for your game, or securing incentives, the program, the layout, all of that. There's a lot of, like Damien said, tiny details that culminate to create a really good success. So
yeah,
they
I
can be
think
a pain.
anything to add to that would be experience is huge, because there's a lot of things in this industry that are unique to this industry. And if you aren't in the industry, you just don't know about them. And that's where like Logan and I really come in with the experience, and we're able to point them in the right directions and help them go in the right way.
We don't want you to give any of the special sauce, but what are maybe like the least important of the little things that you see that maybe, I guess, like you were saying that you all have kind of like the knowledge or the awareness of it. What would be like you just see any TCG out the box, what would be the first thing that you kind of address?
Personally, for me, I would, and this differs between me and Damien, because we both hone in on special things for what we're really good at, right? For me, it's the systems that are being used, the processes of the systems, and seeing if that can be upgraded, because generally there is a point at which you can expedite a lot of their processes. You see a lot of people are using Photoshop or manual editing and stuff like that. And there's a ton of ways that are available to them that you can show them that expedite that by the click of a button, right? And so then
Got
it'll
it.
spit out all their stuff. That's a me thing, though. Damien, is there anything that you particularly focus on?
I guess when I look at a game off rip, I want to look at the game itself and see if it's going to be like a viable strategy to convince players to continue to play, because I think we've all played games before where we played and we're like, that's fun, but you never come back to it. And I think as a TCG and a card game, you want to come back to it. So I look at like the mechanics within the game. Is it interesting? Is it fun? Is it interactive? Is it engaging? Because like I love artwork, and I think if you hit the theme on things, it will just push a set way over the top. And it's actually the only way to make a set over the top is to nail the artwork too. But your artwork isn't going to go as far if your game's not good. If people aren't playing, then less people care about the artwork.
Got you. Okay.
And then, like, to the other to the other point of that, do you ever like look at the leadership or like who's kind of in charge of the company? Like, do you think there's any qualities that help factor in what makes a successful game as it relates to that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're so your upper management does need to have an overall goal in mind and a long-term goal in mind, in my opinion, if they want to do very well, right? And there is like an evaluation process whenever we look at some games, you know, and determine like, how do we want to step forward with this? Do we want to step forward with this? And part of that is the management system and the style and how they interact with us. We do like kind of a personal call with people before we take them on board. And with that, we kind of gauge their character, their persona, how they're trying to advance forward, right? And so there's a lot that does go into that for the long-term success of games, in my opinion.
Well, also you're like working with gamers as playtesting groups too, like just as an aside, but it's like gamers are kind of a demographic in and of themselves where it's just like we're a Riley little bunch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How do you keep us nerds on task, like making sure that, you know, work's getting done and the values being presented?
We're not like constantly playing Call of Duty and you see everybody on their Discord.
Yeah, I think that's where like the structure of like having the play test. I think what Logan and I are noticing a lot just right off the bat is getting people to play test and keeping them engaged through like different changes and stuff is a big deal. You know, nobody's going to say no to sit down to play a game a few times, but like to get them to come back. And I think the structure of like, hey, we meet these nights, it's through the Stab Crab game group that you're familiar with, these people who run it you're familiar with. We do some unique things in our playtest servers as well to keep everybody kind of locked in and engaged on the cards and the format. And we keep it fun. You know, not every night is us playing the card game. Sometimes we're on some video game, all chilling together.
Mm-hmm. Morale.
Yeah, that's
Morale
good.
is huge.
Yeah, that's how you build engagement, right? And it just keeps people feeling like, okay, they're still in the circle, still in the loop, instead of like, hey, here's some cards, play them if you want.
You're on an island by yourself.
Yeah.
Because they won't, dude. If you are like, go do the thing, and they're like,
maybe,
yeah,
maybe I'll do.
I'm gonna play Pal World.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you're like, dang, why haven't any like updates been happening? And you're like, they're on their Discord for 13 hours playing Pal World.
Yeah.
And like the update system that we do, the change log for us for every game that we do is always public with the testers, so they can see everything that has changed. They don't have to wonder if like, has my deck changed at all? They can see. And then just like the weekly engagement that we do with them kind of keeps them focused and engaged in like what's going on, because they'll pick their decks they like, they'll play them for a little bit, but then they won't like explore, but we need them to explore. So
yeah, quality of life improvements are fantastic for your testers. If we never work together and you're just listening to this podcast or whatnot, anything that they ask for quality of life wise, if it's a majority, I would highly recommend implementing it if it's possible.
Got you. Okay, that's amazing. I think another layer onto just not only the play testing and some of the themes that you all were talking about prior to this question, but how do you layer on the organized play on top of that? Or is it like does one supersede the other? Obviously, I think that R&D takes precedence, but does the organized play and like the structure of that have a level of importance as well?
I am a huge OP guy. I think organized play is the most important thing to a card games, like long term, and getting those committed fans, right?
Right.
Keystone fans from Pokemon. You know, I'm still playing Pokemon today because it's what I grew up with. Because they had Pokemon League. You know, I went to League when I was a kid,
and then out there grinding.
Yeah, and then and then when I was like 13 or 14, I found another Pokemon League because I remembered playing it when I was a kid. And now I'm back going to regionals with my friends and everything, right? So I think organized play is really big. It is another thing that we offer separate from playtesting and from like help on design. So we offer playtest help where we bring in our testers, we run them through our system, we run your game through like the feedback systems that we have put in place. And then we have design work where we can help you with the rule book, the cards, all that kind of stuff, balancing and whatnot. And then we also have like OP that we offer. And I think it's really important, but everybody likes to do OP their own way. So we kind of
Got you.
separate those packages.
Got
So-
you. Okay.
I don't mean to put like Easton on the spot or whoever, but like I know Easton, you were involved with cardio at one point, and that was, forgive me if I'm stupid or whatever. I mean, definitely definitely a little bit of the stupid part, but y'all did like
Relatable.
tournament
Relatable.
software or whatever. So
Mhm.
my question is like, would you ever have play testers for something like tournament software? Because that's an experience in and of itself, right? Like I've been in plenty of tournaments, and I know a certain person who has been in a lot of tournaments, and every time like when he comes back from like a sorcery or whatever, one of the first conversations we had is like what was the tournament experience, right? So it's not so much about just playing the game, but like what was the structure of the tournament? Does that make sense at all?
It
Oh,
does. Oh yeah, I think when you go to like new games, you just kind of feel like it's a little Mickey Mouse event because it's not really their fault of their own. I think that's the experience coming in. They haven't been to Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh regionals where you kind of get to used to this. Round one's over, we're moving on to round two. Like we're not waiting, we're here for 9 hours. We got to get going.
yeah.
You got even with the new games, you got some weird stuff going on with Top Cut just because they're not like very familiar with the way that card game Top Cuts work versus other Top Cuts. So I think play testers for like the tournament structure and the software as well would be nice. And I know that like the software programmers that I've worked with before have ran just like fake tests through the systems to make sure it's spitting out all the right information. But
Mhm.
I think if you could marry the two, eventually I'm working on a deck builder for us to use universally with different games. And then eventually that will talk to some kind of like tournament software for the testers as well. Being able to collect the deck list, see percentages, all that kind of stuff. So
Perfect.
Yeah, the quicker I think the quicker you're able to aggregate the type of cards that are being played, the decks that are being played, as well as maybe kind of make the rounds more efficient, because it just seems like it's like Bush League with a lot of the smaller games, and even with a little bit of the larger games, depending on who they have as their OP, like their organized play software system or whatever it may be, it kind of conflates things and makes things a little bit more jumbled up, or it makes it really seamless. But ideally, you want all card games to be like, I know I'm going to be here for 9 hours and not a minute longer, and that's it.
Yeah, like for me, a lot of what I'm looking at too nowadays, like I sound like an old man. You got to look at the fundamentals, but like the fundamentals being like, what does the game have a roadmap at any kind? Like, is there organized play? For me, organized play, as we've already touched on, it's just like it's the whole 360 experience. And if you go to a shitty event and have a bad time, you're gonna these
Not gonna want to go
these
back.
gamers are gonna tell everybody about it.
Yeah,
And,
Yep.
and
it was
like,
a shit
travels.
show.
yeah, it really is. Like
We were locked in there.
Yeah,
I couldn't
exactly.
leave. I was trapped.
Yeah. He
You hear
cheated
those
me.
though. I know we're making fun of them, but you hear stuff like that.
Oh,
You
of
just
course,
hear
yeah.
we're playing Top Cut at Burger King at 12 a.m. It's
Oh
like
my lord.
Yeah.
we're playing for
Yeah.
$5,000 at a
Yeah.
Burger King at midnight. Like, let's go home and get some
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
then Easton cheated me. He drew a card when he wasn't supposed
Supposed
to.
to at the Burger King.
Yeah.
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 It's funny
And
how
the
those
judge
work.
didn't do anything about it. So
Yeah.
and then you're looking at it, it's
Or
like,
you hear about
well,
like, yeah, this thing round 3 happened and I didn't report to the judge until round 6 and they didn't do it or take care of it. And just like, it's a headache.
yeah. Yeah.
Quick look, wait, real quick. I know Ed, you're probably going to have a question, but quick little pivot. What do you recommend for emerging TCGs or Kickstarter TCGs or just indie TCGs who might not have the player base just quite yet to have an in-person event or anything like that, but want to make their mark and slowly grow their player base organically?
TTS is a wonderful tool. I do not like to play on it, and I understand other people do not like to play on it. But as a game that is trying to grow, there are some people who will play on it, and some are better than none.
Yes,
Right.
and they will grow themselves. Actually, you'll
Mhm.
have people that will pull other people in who will be like, "Hey, come play this game with me because you're my friend," right? And then
Right.
that can grow and network in and of itself. Just fostering a place for your player base that is small at that time, if they're scattered out and they can't meet in person, right? To play is a huge ordeal. Just fostering that in and of itself.
Do
Yep.
you think that there's a good cadence?
I don't know about like cadence because I think every game and community are going to be a little different. Some might like to play this like month-long league where you can like schedule with your opponent throughout a week. Some might like it, hey, we run tournaments on Saturday nights,
Right.
But like I remember for MetaZoo, I hopped into the team and my first reaction was like, you guys don't have TTS tournaments? And they're like, well, we had one. And I was like, well, then why don't you have more? Like,
Right.
just not doing them. So I remember like there were Wednesday nights, or what were they? PB Thursdays. We'd sit on. I'd run a tournament for the community. There'd be like 6 to 8 people maybe, but it's
So
people playing the game.
I want to like get out in front on this too. So it's like, listen, MetaZoo may have left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, but there was a lot of good in it too. And like most things, there is good and bad, a little yin and yang action there. I think one of my favorite things, especially early on, like if you know, you know, or if you were around, but MetaZoo University was a great concept. It was a weekly time slot for people in the Discord. If you knew nothing about MetaZoo, you would just hop in and you'd have somebody like Mandel or one of the judges in there, and it was streamed, and you could play against the judge, and they would tell you how to play. And not only like say you weren't comfortable enough to quite play the game yet, you could just hop in and watch somebody play it live, and that was
Yep.
a really great experience for somebody who was that's what got me comfortable enough to actually play. um
To touch on that just a hair, and so like social anxiety on that level, even though it's Discord or anything, is so real on so many levels. Because luckily I came into where it was like small enough, but if I had come in originally whenever it was a larger crowd, it would have taken me a lot longer to warm up, in my opinion. So
oh yeah, without a doubt. And like the other anxiety is like hopping into a game that's been, several sets deep into its development cycle, and then having to essentially jump on a moving train.
oh yeah,
And
catch up.
yeah, and that was the appeal, at least for MetaZoo and a lot of these Kickstarters. Like if I was a Kickstarter, that's something I would lean into. It's like get in on the ground floor. You know, keep things kind of. I understand sets and these games have to grow, but you really want your community to grow with it, along with the onboarding of new players. And
Mhm.
there's a happy balance to be had there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because it actually reminded me of something to answer Easton's question that I wouldn't have thought of on my own, and that's content. Like if your game can make content, if you can get other people to make content for your game, people are consumers. If you put something in front of them, they will consume it. And the day and age we live in with the internet and everything so like rapid fire, they're going to consume all your content in one night. You got to keep producing content because they'll watch all 5 of your YouTube videos. They will.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that's another like you could spin it however you want. There's a positive and negative of everything. So before people just roast me or whatever, I think even something like the content creator program was in and of itself a clever program where it's like, look, at the end of the day, all you're doing is you're printing a card, and you're incentivizing people to just make videos about you. Um, Granted, whether or not that should actually be a thing, like that, you could dissect it for like ethical implications and stuff, but at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it overall it's a positive thing, right? Like you just want the more people talk about your brand or product, overall that's positive. And that's I have a background in digital marketing, so for me, like there's a whole numbers and cents to it where it just comes down to like you're just gaming SEO. And believe it or not, that's a big part of like this particular experience, because so much of TCGs now are kind of like these digital discords and YouTube videos and things like that.
Yeah. I agree on that. Discord social, like kind of social life is very huge right now, in my opinion.
I'm not gonna lie, I did think Discord was weird at first. Like I didn't have a Discord before getting into MetaZoo, and I was like,
Same.
like, do I
Literally.
want this thing? Like, it was the MetaZoo was the only thing I had in there, and I'm like, what do I even use this for? Again, I was just kind of like, I'm like a millennial boomer. I'm like,
Yeah.
huh? What now?
I gotta download something else.
Yeah.
Dude, it's the same thing, but now I have so many servers on my left-hand side that I have to scroll at least like three wheel scrolls to get all the way down it.
Oh God, for the love of
Oh.
God, don't invite me to another server, please.
Yeah.
But then your friend invites you to a server, and you're like,
You're
oh, I don't
like,
want to be,
"Nah,
I don't want to
son."
be mean.
Yeah,
I'll say
exactly.
no. But like, and the worst part is like, you're in the same server with that person and like 4 other person in their server, but there's like 2 people that aren't in another server. So it's like you're only doing it just to be in the same server as 2 other random people. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, fair.
Sorry, I got a little distracted there. We'll get kind of back on topic, I guess. But like when we think about y'all's backgrounds, MetaZoo, Argent Saga, this, that, and the other,
Pokemon.
how's that? How have some of these experiences like helped guide, like how you help sort of work with your clients? And what I mean is like, I hesitate to say failure, but I'm like I've been on this whole introspective tip as of late, but like I think about things that have happened in my life, and my whole thing is like, how do I grow from it? How do we turn this into like a learning experience? Because I feel like sometimes failing is the best way to learn, and it's not really failures on y'all own's like personal part, but how do you look at the experiences through MetaZoo and I don't know if I could say Argent Saga, but like, how have these helped shape the way that you work with your clients?
So for me personally, I could speak for me personally. For Damien, it may be separate because we parted ways with the MetaZoo at separate times and everything like that, And I was always a hardcore till the bitter end. Whenever the boat sinks, I'll go with it kind of thing.
Same.
It's I like you said, Ed, and like you have said, I owe a lot of what I know just on a base level right now because of MetaZoo, because it was a through fire and flame, figure it out, try and make the system as best as you can kind of thing. And that forced me to adapt, to learn the systems and everything that I have learned. Now through that, I've also learned, what not to do, right? So like, you need a lot of patience when you're building card games and everything like that. One of the biggest things that I learned in a 6-month span, and I would say I was hardened on it very hardcore through a lot of heat and pressure, is you just got to stay positive, like to the point that it's kind of mind numbing, mind numbingly positive, bro. Because I don't know if you're on that research and development side and you're on that side of wanting to build your game up and make everything work and everything like that, you can't listen to a lot of outside opinions that could skew how you're looking at what you're building, right? Because what you're building is you're trying to build a future and you're trying to build a game out so that multiple people who enjoy it will be able to enjoy it. And so there was a lot with the ways that some opinions were handled and everything like that I feel can be very course corrected when moving to other games and talk to other people on how to handle that kind of information as well, right? So because it can be jarring. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not. It can be very jarring. So
you're saying maybe you like have a little bit more empathy in your strategy, I guess you'd say, like
yeah.
hearing people out and trying to understand their positioning.
Yes, because also some of your angriest people, some of the people that are so angry at you, right? And maybe you don't understand why they're angry because they're one of your ride or die kind of people within the community, right? They may have a justification for their anger. You just have to be willing to hear it out, right?
Yeah.
Through that opinion that they throw at you, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think just to touch on something, because I think Logan's right, so I'll talk about something different. You do have to have that positive, because R&D is kind of just mashing your head against the wall until it works. Some days it's just like that. There's some days I wake up and I don't want to do it. Like QA, QC, don't want to do it, but you got to.
Burnout.
Just got to do it. Burnout's real. Burnout's definitely real. Staying positive is a big deal. especially when you're working with other people, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
But I've had a lot between Argent and MetaZoo. I've had a lot of good and bad interactions with bosses, and I've had good bosses and bad bosses, and kind of learned about leadership and the way to go about things. I think the cool thing about Argent and MetaZoo both were they gave me a lot to do. There was always a lot to do, so there's a lot to learn. And I learned so much from both of those games. Pokemon was great, and I got to experience Pokemon on all three kind of different accounts as a kid, as a player, like competitively going to Worlds, Nationals, competing, and then also as a league leader and a league owner and kind of organized play stuff. So I got to do all the facets of Pokemon and learn how each kind of group tackles their problems in the game. You know, as a kid, it's hard to get cards. So you're playing budget decks or you're just playing the one deck you have, and rotation can be tough. And so you just pick up like the little cues from each of the demographics. That's really important. And same thing with Argent and MetaZoo. Two things that they taught me is a new community is a new community. And it's every time you make a new game, it's always brand new. You know, you're always going to have 50 to 60% of that community brand new to card games. They don't understand how it works. They don't understand the industry. They're not used to how the things work. So they're a little frustrated at first. So that's one thing I would say is like something to watch for and something I've learned through the games I worked for.
Yeah, you gotta have a lot of patience, and there's one thing that I've learned too is there is like a lot of like clicky type language that you wouldn't typically know if you weren't involved with TCGs from the get go, right? Like, oh, so and so's a spike.
Spike.
To anybody else, they're like, huh?
Uh-huh. That's R- that's RNG. I'm like, what's that? What's that?
Is that some kind of cabbage?
Yeah, what's that?
I don't know.
Oh man.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
new communities are fun, but they come with their own challenges for sure.
exactly. But one of my favorite thing about new communities, I do got to say this, it's kind of off track a little bit, but you, and this was happening with MetaZoo also, not particularly with like you, Ed, or Easton, because you guys kind of already understood based on previous backings from other games and rulings and stuff like that, right? But you could watch these new players who moved in packs or groups, right? Because they're all at the same LGS or anything. Learn together. Like you can literally watch them, and like 1 month they won't understand something, and then the very next month they're like teaching a different group how to actually do it, right? And that's because you've fostered and taught them how to do it with good resources like the rule book updates or any kind of thing like that. So that stuff's
Yeah.
always really interesting and fun.
Yeah, and it's just like stockpiling knowledge. Like if one person knows it, understands it, and loves it, it's like they'll evangelize the brand or the product to exponentially more so than you could do with any like normal marketing.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important. Damien, I'm curious.
So
I'm curious, like, are you working your store at all into Stab Crab? So, like, do you have any physical playtesting going on, or is that part of it, or?
We do have physical playtesting actually for Pangea, the Pangea TCG. We do
Yeah.
both in person and online. We've got about 6 to 8 regulars that come through and play test after we close it at the store. And then this weekend, Logan came up to the store on Friday, Saturday, got to hang out, and we did a TCG showcase where the store kind of spreads all of our TCG stuff out, and that way Pokemon players can come in and learn about Star Wars or Lorcana and vice versa, right? Just kind of
That's awesome.
give people an expo of the card games, and Logan was there, so we had a little Stab Crab Games table where they could scan a QR code and check out the playtesting and the Discord and stuff.
Oh, that's sick. So do you run it like a sweatshop, or you like get to work, boys? We got to do.
No, it's really fun. Playtesting is always a really fun experience. It's a community too. You get to like really bond with these people that you get to play with every week. It's a great play. It's a great place to be with great people.
No matter how much you play a game on TTS, it's always different in paper.
Yeah, for sure.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
That opening hand is like way different. You're like, oh, I always
Mhm.
get 3 lands, and it's like, dang it, I only get 1.
Yeah.
So Logan does the graphic stuff for our cards that takes them from the spreadsheet right to the print cards that we print for upstairs. and for a little bit he left the text box blank or the picture box blank, and the playtesters love to draw things in them. And then he came down this weekend and they're like, hey, can you get that box back?
Yep.
It was so
that's
funny. They
so
love to, like,
awesome.
Something that I was saying earlier about the quality of life thing. Another thing is goofy things. Like, well, I say goofy. It's not really goofy. It's just funny, haha, right? Things like that. They love it, and it can often be found by just accidents whenever you make a bug or do something like that. And testers can love it. They'll just be like, "Yes,
Yeah.
please."
I'd embrace that stuff, definitely.
Boost morale. So
All the
good.
inside jokes that come from playtesting, like,
Yeah.
embrace those. They're funny.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of just internal memes that always evolve out of that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even when East and I were playtesting,
Mhm.
I for Earth Tower I had the Tehihan song, and
Hey,
you'd sing
hee
it
haw.
Tehihan. Yeah, and you'd sing it to the tune of John Denver's Country Roads.
Mhm.
So you know, just nerds being a little
Nerds.
weird.
Yeah, no, playtesting is great. Online, in person, it's always a good
Yeah.
time. You do get to bond with those people. They become kind of like a family.
So if I was a company and I'm interested in like I'm launching my TCG, like at which point would I get y'all involved? And how would I do that?
So you can really kind of get us involved at any point. We will talk to you about what you need and what it would kind of cost us time wise or any kind of thing like that, right? We've been pretty booked here lately, so it would be kind of on a basis meetup kind of level. A lot of the people that we've been dealing with here lately are already production ready. I guess long story short to your answer is like you can hit us up at any point, kind of, right? And we're willing to help you. It's just a matter of we would have to gauge how much time and resource would need to go into what you need to get to where you want to get, right?
Mhm. Makes sense.
Okay.
I like how
Now-
you have offerings for it, even if you're like just an ideation phase, or if you're somebody who's close to production or pre-production. Like that's really cool that you're able to service everybody.
Yeah, right. So that's another part that we love, right? Is that so maybe you're not willing to take it to production for another 2 years or something, but you still need some kind of help in the beginning with playtesting and just getting the ideation down kind of stuff. That's what we're here for as well. And so I mean, like we love doing that to, like we said, help them flourish. And it's also kind of just cool to see it build up from the ground because I mean, if we work with a client now, right, and then like a year and a half from now they go to production and we see them, we're like, oh hey, look at that. We helped put that out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How is it structured so like it's bound to come up with the playtesters, right? Are they on a reward system from the manufacturer? Like, are they getting playtester cards from the manufacturer, or are they treated as they being compensated through y'all? How does that work?
Yeah, good question. So a little bit of both, because Logan and I's eventual goal is to get to the point where we can pay the playtesters. We're not there yet, so we're working towards the goal. But we do have plans in place to pay playtesters as early as like next month. Not all of them, just some of and the initial plan is to bring some on as professional playtesters through Stabcraft Games. So when we get new games, we can incentivize like the games of like, hey, we have an experienced playtester who has worked with us before. They'll come on for this, price, and it makes the games feel a little more comfortable that they're not just getting a bunch of hooligans, right?
Right.
Gamers.
Yeah. So, and then we also ask the game if they would like to compensate the playtesters in any way, and we do that up front during the onboarding process so that it's transparent right away.
Yep. Base incentives on top of Stabcraft game incentives.
And that's one thing, like at least from like a consultancy standpoint, like is always worth articulating too, because you see these new games, and I think they might not even know like how to deal with playtesters or what to even give them, or like should they give them anything. And that's, I reckon, where y'all probably step in and say, well, it would be nice to do this.
Yes.
Yeah, we got some recommendations. Obviously, we don't force anybody to do anything, but we have things that we've seen work well, things that we've seen not work well, things that we think, because all incentives are different. I've noticed that we had an attendance incentive at the store, and I noticed that people were like watching their attendance to see if they hit their thresholds or not. So we scrapped that. Not happening no more. So every incentive is different in the way that the playtesters react to it as well.
Groups
it's a
can be
tricky-
different as a whole.
It's
Mhm.
a tricky balance too, because like if it's like, you got to do this much of this, then you start getting people like they're not really putting the quality or effort into it. They're just showing up. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep.
Definitely.
Sending it in.
There's also
Um,
sometimes a battle, right? Because like you can offer like a kind of a battle system called, or a tournament system, like whoever has the highest attendance gets XYZ, right? But then it's also almost unfair to other people, especially the ones that want to try or the ones that fall behind. And so I mean, like there's a whole struggle with that aspect of it also.
If somebody wanted to sign up for playtesting with Stab Crab, how would they go about doing that? And what's like the onboarding, or do y'all have a process or anything like that?
We do, yes. So what you will do is you can join our Discord, and in our Discord we will have I believe it's roles. Let me go double check super quick.
Y'all got roles?
I think so. I think so. Yeah,
Man,
we got
that's
some roles in here.
Hawaiian
Couldn't sound-
Hawaiian rolls.
yeah, my
Yup.
favorite.
Oh, absolutely. King's Hawaiian.
Mm,
And then
Yeah.
so in the roles channel, you can sign up for what's called upcoming play tests, right? And so ours is Stabcraft Games The Cove. And you sign up for upcoming play tests, and whenever we put out any kind of play testing, we'll put out a form that you can sign up through, and we'll give you a ping for that specific role. And then from there, once you're accepted, we'll send out acceptance emails. We'll get your documentation that we need from you, and then we'll get you into the Discord server. So we usually create a server for every game that is having a playtesting ran through us. So
That's dope because it
Can you
allows it.
guys can you
Nope.
guys make a shirt that says "I got crabs" on the back of it, and then
I
it's
got
Stab Crab on the front?
Yeah.
So I was gonna talk to Damien about this one, but a recent idea that I was having was I got my crabs at the cove kind of thing.
Oh,
That's good.
that's a good one.
Yeah, yours is a little bit. I like yours more.
Thank you, thank you.
Do you all plan on being at any like conventions, whether it be like Gen Con or a Collecticon or anything like that, or is this something that you're kind of doing like stealth mode, or how do you plan on like marketing going forward?
We don't have any plans for this year's conventions just because I think we kind of got started in a hurry. Logan had the Mezu thing. I'm doing the store. I think we're both a little busy. So no plans this year other than maybe you might find us with the games that we're partnering with. I know some of them might have booths at upcoming conventions. So we might make an appearance there. And then we also might backpack it, just go hang out to the convention as normal people, but also have the Stab Crab Game stuff on us.
Okay.
And then maybe next year we'll ramp into the conventions thing. I know Gamma and PAX is a big deal. So I've been to Gamma. It's a lot of fun. I'd like to go back. And it's actually close to home now for both of us.
Dope.
Yeah, the networking's huge. Like just being able to be there though and talk to people is incredibly invaluable in and of itself.
Absolutely. You make some very irreplaceable friendships through cons like that, I feel.
Yeah, I mean that was the whole MetaZoo experience. I think that's really why MetaZoo worked. Is somehow it just hit at the Collecticon at the right time when Collecticons were launching, and every event, every Collecticon or whatever, it felt like a little reunion with your Discord buddies.
Yep. Yep.
Like, and the friendships kind of made through that are just like, I mean, a lot of it was sort of lightning in a bottle, but I think whenever you get your Discord buddies, your gamer buddies, and you see them IRL, it's just like, let's fucking go, Oh man, so
Those long-term friendships that you'll make with everybody. You'll be like, "Yo, hey, you fool that I ain't seen in a year and a half. How you been?"
yep. All right, so and I guess I want to sort of leave us off here. Can you guys want to plug any of your socials or Discords, or like what's the best way for folks to find you guys?
So socials, you can catch us on Stabcraft Games on Instagram and Facebook as well. We have a Facebook page. On that Facebook page, you'll find our links to our Discord, the Cove. I don't know, is there a way to drop a kind of link, PV, or any kind of thing at all?
Yeah, we can get some linkage in the podcast description.
Let's go. I'll send those over to you then. And so those will be in the description below as well. We'll have a link for you guys to join the Discord through there. And like I said, just go to roles, sign up for upcoming playtests if you guys want to be involved with that, or just check out some of the other channels. The other channels won't pop up to you unless you go subscribe to those roles, right? Or even just hang out. We're looking at ways to build out some community engagement that will possibly feed into an overall game that we're trying to build out as well. So,
yeah, and we've got like Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon talk going on in the Discord too. You know, card game, board game, you know, video games, all that stuff. You just like to hang out, you know, community. If you're the old MetaZoo guys, you'll probably see some friends. I do want to shout out before we leave Pangea TCG. That's the first game that we worked with, partnered with. They're coming out.
Dinosaurs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
yes. It's so cool. Logan and I are so excited for this game. It's so cool. We put a lot of hard work into it. We think it's a really fun game. The playtester feedback has been phenomenal. They said they're having fun. It's, you know, interactive and engaging. They should be releasing, I want to say, late April, early May. PangeaTCG.com. They've got a Discord community. We've got it in the StabCrab game server as well. So if you just want to see what it is, we can help you out there. We did the rule book and the cards. So if you guys ever have questions in the future, you know, you can always ask us and we can help you out learning the game. Or we'll do demos and stuff through StabCrab game server, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And then Crazy Croppers, Kevin Cote from MetaZoo.
Shout out to Kev.
He's making his own game. So he's working with us, Crazy Croppers. We just closed the applications, but we're going to do a rolling application every month. So if you missed out and you want to help with that game or check out what it is, same application, just apply and we'll check out the applications next month, the new ones.
Exactly.
I love it. Yeah. Kevin makes good cards.
Kevin does.
Kevin does make good cards.
Very good cards.
Too good.
I'll say that. I like them.
Listen,
all right.
He brought the Giants. That's what it was.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, hey, I appreciate y'all being on. Easton, we'll have to get Pangea on. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with it. Let's do it.
Hit up Rachel. Hit up Rachel.
All right, Rachel.
Where's Rachel?
Where's Rachel?
All right, fellas. Well, I appreciate you guys stacking the deck with us. Looking forward to following up with you guys here down the road, checking in on StabCrab every now and then.
Of course.
Everybody, check out the links in the description. Hop in the StabCrab Discord, and we'll get after it.
Check it out. Thanks, PB. I appreciate you, and you too, Easton. I appreciate y'all.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This was a lot of fun.
It was.
Thanks, guys. You have a fantastic evening.
You too, man. Later.
Peace.
Bye-bye.